Thought Council agrees position on chat control after years of stalled talks. Is this it? Is this new? Ooh. Damn. Can't tell. Damn. Advertisements. I wish I could just do dark mode. Okay, this is November 26th. This is new. We're going to be looking at the government wouldn't do that to you. JK. And maybe some France stuff. France seems like it's a... I always said France sucked. It's like the Ohio of Europe or something. It's just kind of a shithole. Kind of unfortunate too. So this is from Politico. European government struck a deal on Wednesday that clears the way for new rules protecting kids from sexual abuse online. The agreement among the countries puts an end to a year-long heated lobbying fight that pitted privacy groups and even Elon Musk against law enforcement and child rights groups. The proposed law, which now tracked to pass by April deadline, pending final talks with the European Parliament, would allow online messages apps to scan content to stop the spread of child sexual abuse material and child grooming, and require platforms to do more to take down the content. See, it's always about the children. It's always about infringing on people's rights, and you're gonna unfortunately look like a psycho if you try to oppose this, because then people think that you are against some form. The problem is people. This is like one of those really, really slippery slope arguments where it's how do I explain it? It's kind of like a slippery slope argument. Like, parents should be involved in their kids' lives and make sure that they are not accessing this kind of content online. Parents should have a talk with their kids. Be like, hey, if a stranger asks for your number, say no. We should treat it like as if we were sending our kids out to play in public like 30, 40, 50, whatever years ago. And another problem that I've seen before that people have talked about is there's no more kids apps. Like there's no more apps where like kids can go interact with each other. Like you have grown ass fucking adults on TikTok that's kind of questionable. Like grown ass adults interacting with kids, because like TikTok is definitely geared towards kids. And it's not just men, it's just really bad adults in general. Another problem is, what if you don't have parents, you know, and wish I knew how to read? Same. What if you have like don't have parents and like you're still a minor, and now and you maybe get emancipated and you become like an adult? How do you deal with that? How does also like how do you determine if someone's a minor? They can just lie about their age, just like you people have done before. People could just start lying about their age. There's not really a good solution for this. And even worse, I had access to like the unrestricted internet as a kid. Lots of weirdos on there. There's a lot of weird people on the internet, I'm not gonna lie, but I also knew not to hand out my information to like strangers because my parents said not good. And I also I was like the fearful kid. They're like, oh my god, they have my IP address, they're gonna find out where I live, like shit like that. So that like kind of, but now we have apps that just like are literally designed to post videos of you fucking dancing. I don't know. TikTok's probably the biggest shit show. Facebook was pretty bad, but TikTok's probably the worst. And Roblox. I mean, like Roblox refuses to deal with their problems that they're encountering. I mean, the developers do have a responsibility also to, if they have like known predators on their servers, they could maybe do something. But I don't know. At least when like these people catch them, they shouldn't ban the catchers, and they should side with them, and kind of like yikes, like get rid of like the people that do this kind of shit. This client side scanning is just like always like a step in the direction to hurt people's privacy. And where's the data gonna go? Who's gonna handle it? Now government agencies will be targeted. If I had no parents when I was younger, I would smoke so many cigs and join MySpace. You probably did do that, Ryan. Man, I really need a third monitor. Oops. 3 monitors would make me much more powerful. So the idea labeled chat control by privacy campaigners who argue that it will open the door to state surveillance, which I agree with. You don't want state surveillance. Will also hard by end-to-end encrypted messaging apps signal a threat to seize servers in Europe if the chat control proposal had moved forward. The compromise approved by the EU ambassadors on Wednesday allowed companies to decide voluntarily whether to scan their service, which is the current status quo under the temporary legal exemption that expires in April. It also places fresh obligations on platforms, including mandatory risk assessments. Wow. And the problem with this legal looseness, they could be like, hey, you didn't do this. Sorry, we're gonna fucking ban you. Don't they have an Onion site? The deal clears the way for the Council to start negotiations with the European Parliament. Final text: Parliament reached position on the law in 2023. Wednesday's compromise doesn't fully police either campaign and the lobbying fighting. Police and investigators fear illegal content will remain out of sight on end-to-end encrypted applications, while privacy activists say large-scale surveillance of communication will still expand. The problem is encryption should never be considered illegal. You can't make software illegal. This was like kind of like the crypto wars back in the 90s with PGP. This is why they released PGP source code in the form of a book, so that it's protected under like the First Amendment in at least the United States. Another reason is just because criminals use something doesn't mean that good people aren't going to use it. So like, how do you can't really design. This is the problem. These boomers think that you can design encrypted chat apps and allow backdoor. That would completely defeat the purpose. And look, yes, we all agree that prospectively that criminals should be caught and put in jail when, especially, they are doing illegal things with minors, and let the state decide what they should do with people like that. But the issue is you're again infringing on people's rights to private conversations, especially because these conversations are in public. Kick is filled with bots. I think Kick is just a financial hole. The other problem with that is journalists, vulnerable people that lived in authoritarian countries that don't have access to stuff like this, where they can eventually get access to it and have a censorship resistance form of end-to-end encrypted communications. I think it should be allowed. I mean, you shouldn't really make that illegal or allow client-side scanning. I think that we need to start heading to maybe a zero knowledge proof, where even if I don't know. I'm not too hip on the zero knowledge perspective, but they raced to pass the law. Andy Yen, CEO of Swiss privacy-friendly tech maker Proton, said in a statement, "It is vital we all remain vigilant against attempts to introduce mandatory scanning through the back door during the negotiations." Ela, not going to say the last name, head of policy of Digital Rights Group EDRI, said there's a lot of still to fix in the council's text. Said a condition of Child's Rights Group said it's concerned by the absence of mandatory detection orders. Thanks, Ryan. I love you too, man. The lead negotiation for the Parliament Spanish lawmakers, Javier, not going to say the last name, said in a video post that negotiations are urgent. Cyprus will lead to negotiations on behalf of the council, stating in January that the Creppoit official said it's full awareness of April deadline. Yikes. Sweden braces for election hacks ahead. Don't say your last name. Jardina? That's probably not even your last name. I'm assuming you're not that retarded. Yeah, I don't get why, I don't know why I thought about this. I don't get why ham radio operators need to fucking post their first and last name. It shouldn't even be illegal. Like, it shouldn't even be a thing. Boo! Sorry, we need to verify your question is doing. JavaScript haters. Fucking the French. Maybe this will there's some Graphene OS drama in France going on. France is like very like hell yeah chat control. It's such a smelly country. This is why their people always be protesting, because they're quite literally always like their government's always fucking up somewhere. E provides law enforcement far easier access to the device than an iPhone or even most stock Android devices due to its high level of insecurity. It leaves the front door wide open. That's funny. PGP. PGP, yeah, could solve if there was ever, like, hypothetically, the problem is some PGP's encryption scheme doesn't encrypt the entire message, so if you would have to be very, very, very diligent on the metadata, like that leaks, and the lack of security features, like Signal's like protocol is like the standard. How does by Internet Grill? This is a real thing. Down detector, and there was an Internet Grill that had it down so you couldn't use the fucking app. Oh man. PCP, you got drugs? Yep. What the fuck, Ryan? Ryan's from Vegas, so God, there's so many fucking smart grills. It had like a smart grill servers down today. I wonder if I could find it. What I don't get the point of this. Pit boss, smart down Kerpalana. Okay, stay. Maybe I can find it on the source that I found it. Honestly, it's fucking bonkers. Where is it? Yeah. Tangier Grills. What the fuck? Who gets a grill that needs a software update? Like, for real. I'm like, your cat's like meowing when you stream, huh? He's retarded. Probably want a cracker. What do smart grids even supposed to compare to numbers? Like, I know, but like, I'm just like confused on like why the fuck you like imagine like you need a software update while you're grilling your meats. The government would never meow in your stream. True. What's it called? Tin Balls Grill. I just can't. I don't get the fucking. Damn. That M and N are way too close. Okay, maybe I don't have. Okay, I can just look up the grill. Grill outage. I don't know. I don't know why the fuck the grill needs to be connected to the internet. I thought you were vegan. What do you care about meat for? You can still grill, man. You ever heard of grilled veggies or grilled corn? Grills have multi-purpose use. I can also get vegan meats. Imagine my veggie meats getting fucking blasted during an update. Why is the Shiny Grill offline? Here's the real reason. God, I hate this kind of writing. Oh my god, these feel AI generated. Apparently this is a popular grill. You gotta be smoking fucking crack. Let's see what these costs are. $1,000. $1,500. Our lineup of universal flavor. Oh my god, why would you want this connected to the internet? They can't be real. Oh man. Open source grill, guys. It's the next step. Every fucking grill is easy to use and cook food evenly. Even if it doesn't, then your grill is retarded. You're more retarded than I am. True. I am more retarded. But every grill is fucking easy. Even, guys, open source grill. I wonder. Damn it. Open source grill. Guys, look, Pi-Fi, a smart Wi-Fi enabled controller for the. See, I'm telling you. If there's we'll turn off JavaScript, it's fine. I have to. I can't. This can't be real. That's gonna stand it. It's fine. I'm screwed. I2P. Um. Oh, no, it's gone. That's why I love GitHub. It's just always someone. Yeah, Free Grilly. Here we go. Hey, it's active. The project provides an alternative firmware for the Grilly Max thermometer after the original discontinued software support. Oh, that's kind of cool. This firmware is unofficial and not affiliated with endorsed. On-device temperature display, web interface control. All device management is configured is handled through an easy-to-use web interface, dual web access, a local AP access point. That's crazy. Guys, he restarted the Tor browser and we saw I2P. Tor is secretly I2P. It's true. I'm just more or less thinking, why the fuck, why does this exist? I mean, it's cool. It's cool when, like, people are like, hey, these losers discontinued something. Let's reverse engineer it. The fuck? A pellet grill with a pie. Of course. Man, there's always... Raspberry Pi based smoke grill controller. That's awesome. I love it. I'll even say that. So we could look. I forget what's this site. It's called the Black Vault. Anam. The Black Vault looks like, honestly, a honeypot, though. I would even say that, yeah, the second this happens, the second it needs all these permissions, I'm already sus. Like, a real schizophrenic would have the easiest privacy policy on the play. At least they let me turn it off. Oh, more. God, look at all this. Yeah, this is definitely a federal site with embedded spying. Man, Richard Stallman would be having a stroke right now. See, if this was on Libre JS, guys, this wouldn't even happen. Oh, man, absolute cancer. This is why I say that web is cancer now, because you have to... Look at all these fucking... Are these, like, advertisers? If there's this many advertisers just chilling... 731 days. Data collection and process IP address. Wow, yeah, that is crazy. There should be a reject all option. Not that all this, guys. Just to let you know, the Black Vault is probably just an ad sucking AI generated retard slop. If you have to do this, kill yourself. Absolutely insane. I'm gonna get fucking carpal tunnel just doing this. Later, Billy. Okay, there's no way. There should be a. I think there is a reject all, but they can ignore this. You don't really know. Doesn't use cookies. Cool. It's like fucking. If you're watching, just skip ahead. I don't know what the timestamp is. If someone labels it, please. Absolute cancer. Alright, confirm choice. Jesus Christ, that was terrible. And he's asking for donations? What? How are you going to ask for donations when you're running that much advertisement on your fucking site? Did uBlock Origin even work? I don't think I have uBlock Origin. But whatever. Google... And there could be even... There even could be, in theory, current government document page count within the vault. Yeah, 3,000. I should have thought of this at site. Let's see. FBI releases lacks Jetpack case file. Pile interview contradicts Jetpack description. All analysis records will held on DoD's own released UAP footage. Okay. Paranormal case. FOIA documents. FBI government. Home. Chat. Facebook group. That's already. Yeah. FBI civil rights era. Las Vegas police released full report on cyber explosion and the federal interview that followed. Huh. Mysteries. Mind control. New World Order. UFO science, cloning, disease and human health, environmental change, space, weather and modification, wartime. Congressional mixed elections, government accountability reports, government employee manual, auditors, public friends, goes to DV complaints, U.S. financial, FBI files. Mind control. Advanced for its time technology, aircraft, air force, biological, chemical weapon, defense issue, military, commercial accidents, new reckon, terrorism. Operation High Jump. Air to air. Okay, so there's only. Never mind. There's a lot. Atomic Century robots. Artificial intelligence. Bell rocket jetpack. Individual lift device. Advanced for its time. You can look at Project Orion, nuclear propulsion concept. This is probably like normal shit. The Insect Throper was a miniature unmanned aerial vehicle developed in the United States Central Intelligence Agency Research and Development Office in the 70s. The Insect Thropter was the size of a dragonfly and was hand-painted to look like one. It was powered by a small gasoline engine to make the wings move and was fueled by a very small amount of gas. The project was abandoned when the Inspector was found to be difficult to control across winds. It took nearly 7 years for documentation to be released on the... They were finally released in January of 2020. The CIA was also produced and released below videos available since Cicada of 2015. However, the documents have never released before now. That's what I'm saying, man. This was like 50 years ago. And they're like, what? Is that how much it cost? That's crazy. $100,000? What a waste. Let's do an inflation calculator real quick. Take this with a grain of salt. I don't know if that's the cost. Yeah, that's crazy. Ooh, let's say it's what, 1975. Oh my god. This doesn't even have that many. This is just a calculator. It's just a couple. That's crazy. Oh, I know there's like another. $1? The same item will cost $30 if from okay. 1975. See that? Oh, yeah. That yikes. So $10 was really fucking balling. $3,000. If in 1905 enter the year I purchased an item for $500, then so $82. Wow. It'd be $600,000 today to build that. That's fucking crazy. Okay, Advanced Technology Center, $5,000. Advanced Tech Center, that's like probably the bill for it. To provide clandestine insect dragonfly vehicle capable of being directed to a specific target at least 100 meters distance for the purpose of placing an audio surveillance device, optical microphone. At the outpost of this program, both the aerodynamic and propulsive feasibility has been demonstrated by a flight test during the phase 0 of $40,000. Guys, just get military contracts. No one knew that they spent this money until now. That's crazy. Coronations, and it failed. They spent $100,000 and it failed. Wow. Vehicles power. Cryptology. Freedom of Information Act research. Oh wait. Spy satellites and NRO. Las Vegas police released Amelia Earhart declassified new government records released and indexed to Black Vault. This is from November 17th. Amelia Earhart's disappearance in 1937 remains one of the most enduring mysteries in aviation history, inspiring investigation, speculation, and government inquiry for nearly 9 decades. As the federal agency prepared records across generations, much of the documentation remains scattered, classified only partially accessible to the public. The situation changed in 2025 when President Donald J. Trump ordered the release of government records related to Amelia Earhart on her final trip, and everything else about her directive initiated a government-wide effort to identify the declassified. The published material across the intelligence, military, and diplomatic archival communities claiming the first comprehensive public release of the federal Earhart records. Man, there's a lot of fucking ads on this bitch. Like, why am I getting a Tai Chi workout according to the weight? Can you help support us? We have 50 advertisers on site. The National Archives and Record Administration serves as a central repository for innovative. Many Earhart-related records have been transferred to the NARA over the years throughout routine process, while others remain siloed with agencies or bound by classification until new directive forced a government-wide review. As agencies continue to identify additional material, they are required to send the records to the NARA for digitization and public posting. The process is going on, and records will be added on a rolling basis, meaning the full collection will expand over time. Ooh. Exclude terms minus. I think everyone thinks they. People say she like landed in Japan or some shit and disappeared. It is kind of strange that the government like kept this declassified though. I wonder if this guy has talked about the Las Vegas. Okay. There was I remember people were saying that like this case was actually pretty crazy. Let's do 500 pages. Isn't it Control F? Nope. Oh, find in page. "19 pages. Maybe. Oh, some of this shit's not gonna fucking. Oh. Damn. What a time not to know how to read cursive. Yeah, who the fuck could read this? Jesus, man, if someone could read that and tell me. The writer is no scientist, honor university, but these things. Guess I'm going to page 78. Oh, Japan. As regarding his bishop said, only learned an airplane revamp across confidential. Only one word, really? Japan's Navy, which I'll have to actually I don't know if I could even go through all 500 pages. It's just a lot of scary writing called cursive, and a lot of it's fucking old. This is the problem with stuff getting released so late. It just decays over time. Especially there was no digitization. Shit wasn't getting fucking digitized. But we're gonna look at Operation Trojan Shield. That's interesting. I'll look more into this Japanese. Van Piers dated 1960 released a review of the Earnhardt case, and basically the Japanese government allegations that Mr. was imprisoned on. Oh, these are are these schizophrenic people just saying that? I'll have to search those files at another time. We're gonna look at Operation Trojan Shield. The government was like, "Hey, let's do this," and it kind of ties into with Graphene OS. I believe they were they were stealing some copyright shit or something. I believe they were told. I don't know. I'm not entirely sure. I have a Graphene OS video coming out soon, but pretty much Operation Trojan Shield. There's Darknet Diaries does a whole video on this. It's pretty cool. It was part of Operation Ironside, which was a collaboration by law enforcement agencies from several countries running between 2018 and 2021. It was a sting operation that intercepted millions of messages sent through the supposedly secure smartphone-based proprietary, which is a crazy fucking word to put after that, messaging app Anam. Also this style that says Anam or Anam. The Anam service was widely used by criminals, but instead of providing secure communication, it was actually a Trojan horse, covertly distributed by the United States Federal Bureau of Investigation, FBI, and the Australian Federal Police, AFP, enabling them to monitor all communications through collaboration with law enforcement agencies worldwide. The operation resulted in the arrest of over 800 suspects allegedly involved in criminal activity in 16 countries. Among the arrest people were allegedly members of Australian-based Italian mafia, Albanian organization crime, and outlaw motorcycle clubs, drug syndicates, and other organized crime. This is something to think about when the next time you want to download the most secure, encrypted, fucking massive pee-pee-poo-poo app, whatever. If it's not open source, that should be your first red flag. That should be your first question. I'm not saying that it's going to immediately make it better, but that should be your first thought. And then let's say it's not open source. And let's say it is open source. You should take it with a grain of salt. Even Signal. Like, you should... Signal, I don't think Signal's a honeypot. I don't think they really have a reason to be, but... Because they could just dunk now. I mean, like, they could have... I mean, this was a sting operation 1920, 3 years. I mean, you know how many people use Signal? It could just be dunking now. Know what I'm saying? So, just think about that one. Pretty much an investigation into the Canadian secure messaging, a company called the Phantom Secure, was initiated in 2017. The FBI alleges that the investigators revealed that the Phantom Secure sold its encrypted devices exclusively to members of traditional criminal organizations, TCOs. Hardened encrypted devices provide an impenetrable shield against law enforcement surveillance, and they are in high demand by TCOs. Thus, the shutdown of the Phantom Secure in March of 2018 left a vacuum of TCOs in need of an alternative system for secure communication. Around the same time, the San Diego FBI branch had been working with a person known by the pseudonym Afgu, who had been developing a next-generation encrypted device for use by criminal networks. The person was facing charges and cooperated with FBI in exchange for a reduced sentence. The person offered to develop a NOM and then used his contacts to distribute it to TCOs through existing networks. Before the devices were put to use, however, the FBI and the AFP had a backdoor built into the communication platform, which allowed law enforcement agencies to decrypt and store messages as the messages were transmitted. The first communication device with the NOM was offered by this informant to 3 former distributors of the Phantom Secure October in 2018. Wow, what a fucking loser. But he was facing criminal charges, guys. You know, people can call him whatever he wants. He's, you know, not crazy. Suspects 150. Distribution and usage. The NOM devices consist of a messaging app running Android smartphones with a custom ROM called Arcane OS that had been specially modified to disable normal functions such as voice telephony, email, or location service. With the addition of pin entry scrambling and randomized layout, the deletion of all information of the phone in a specific pin is entered. This also exists on Graphene OS anyway, so like it's not like unique. And then the option for automatic deletion of all information of user unused for a specific period of time. I don't know if that's even possible. On Android, I'm not entirely sure. But if this was rooted, then sure, probably. The app was opened by entering a specific calculation, with the calculator app described by the developer of Graphene OS as quite amusing security theater. I think they've talked about this, that it doesn't really matter. Where the messaging app, the communication with the other device via supposedly a secure proxy server, which also, unknowns by the app's users, copied all sent messages to the server controlled by the FBI. The FBI could then decrypt the messages with the private key associated with the message without ever needing physical access to the device. Wow, what a fucking W for these people just to be able to read this shit. These devices also had a fixed identification number assigned to each user, allowing messages from the same user to be connected with each other. About 50 devices were distributed in Australia for beta testing from October 2018. The intercepted communications showed that every device was used for criminal activities, primarily being used for organized criminal gangs. About 125 devices were shipped to different drop-off points in the United States 2020. Use of the app spread through word of mouth and was also encouraged by undercover agents. Drug trafficker is a Turkish-Australian drug trafficker. He was, okay. As someone who trusted and was going to be able to successfully distribute the platform, and without his knowledge was encouraged by undercover agents to use and sell the devices on the black market. Further expanding its use, after the use of the device requested smaller and newer phones, new devices were designed and sold Customer service and technical assistance was also provided by the company. The most commonly used languages of the app were Dutch, German, and Swedish. Wow, crazy. What an awful time to be a criminal, I guess. After a slow start, the rate of distribution of non-phone from mid-2019 to October 2019, there were several hundred users by May 2021. There had been 11,800 devices with the NOM installed, of which about 9,000 were used in New Zealand and 57 users of the NOM community systems. The Swedish police had access to the conversations from 1,600 users, which they focused their surveillance on 600. Europol stated that 27 million messages were collected from NOM devices across 100 countries. That is crazy. This is why you should not trust when people are trying to sell you a product. I mean, Graphene OS is free and open source, and it is touted as one of the best systems we have. And you might ask, why should we trust them after seeing something like this? You shouldn't. If you don't want to install Graphene OS, just use stock Android. I think that Graphene OS is the best option we have because it's not rooted, it's forked. It's not a custom ROM, it's a fork. This is where people need to understand the difference. It's all open source and verifiable. And I think there are some other, different perspectives that people could apply to it. I mean, it's just taking Android and making it better. If you want to dumb it down. So if you don't trust Android, then Graphene OS may be better. Because he does one of the people that speak for that does their social media. He does a talk with David Bombal, and he demystifies a lot of the incorrections that people get. Okay. Some skepticism of the app did exist. One WordPress blog in March 2021 called the app a scam. Boy, was he right. He just fucking knew. Law enforcement operational methodology. 2018, the backdoor built by the FBI into the system designed would be send an additional encrypted copy of each message sent by the anonymous users to a third-party server referred by the FBI as iBot server. Fourth Amendment interceptions endangered the project if iBot servers were located in the U.S. So the servers necessarily were located outside the U.S. borders. First server would decrypt the copy message, process the information, message, GPS location, text, username, Jabber ID, password, etc., and then re-encrypt it and send it to second FBI-ownered iBot. So, God damn, man. That's crazy. Every time I read or listen to this story, it's I feel like I obtain newer and crazier information. I think, I remember it was done outside the U.S. But if countries share information with each other, I think if they give it, they're like, here, take this information on your people that you collected. They can take it as a gift, and it's not violating the Fourth Amendment, I believe. I could be wrong. 2019, because the FBI could not own the first iBot node, nor they were permitted to receive any of the seized information about U.S. citizens, they contracted, here we go, the AFP to run the first node of the server and process the data. Australia does not provide the same protection as U.S. law for its citizens. Insane, by the way, so if you're Australian, RIP. Controversially, the AP did share general information about the conversations from the anon message with the FBI during the time period, despite Australia's judicial order to intercept anon communications did not allow for the sharing of content with foreign partners. Allegedly, the FBI officially had not reviewed any of the anon decrypted content yet by the summer of 2019. As a method of getting around Australian court order, the FBI needed to secure a mutual legal assistance treaty request with a third country where the transfer of information would be legal pursuant to their national laws. which, while much work was needed done to keep the identity of the third country a secret, the identity was discovered by the press as Lutheria in 2023. The FBI worked with Lutheria through the autumn of 2019. However, the FBI alleges that the iBots had a geofenced and all messages they originated from the U.S. to prevent the FBI-owned iBot2 server from inadvertently seizing messages in violation of the Fourth Amendment. Wow. Even with the Fourth Amendment, they're like, sorry. That's why I always say, if you think that your government wouldn't do it, they will. October 7th, 2019 to January 7th, Lutheria created an iBot copy, iBot 3, of the FBI-owned iBot 2 server and began receiving content from the iBot 2 server every 2 to 3 days. Post January 7th, 2020, a new MLAT and court order from Lithuania allowed the FBI to receive anonymous user data every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday until June 7th of 2021. This encompassed all data ever generated by anonymous users with alleged exception of 15 or 17 users that originated from the phones from the U.S. Yikes. Arrest and reactions. The first search warrants were generated by judges in May 2020. Initially, no arrests were made. In the United States, because of the Fourth Amendment interpretations that prevented law enforcement from collecting messages from domestic subjects. However, the United States Department of Justice indicted 17 persons, all foreign nationals, secret officers under the Racketeering Influence and Corruption Organization Act. As of April 23, multiple court cases have been brought to Australia to challenge the legitimacy of the non-sting operation. EncroChat. EncroChat was a European-based communication network and service provider that offered modified smartphones, allowing encrypted communication among subscribers. It was primarily used by organized crime. Police infiltrated the network between at least March 2020 during a European-wide investigation. An unidentified source associated with EncroChat announced on the night of 12, the company was ceased to operations. That's kind of crazy. Look at this. Look at that based OS. That was only a couple years ago. Guys, that was only like 6 years, 9, oh. This was like 9 years ago. 10 years ago almost. We're going to learn about Stephen Paddock. Okay. All right. Stephen Paddock. Stephen Paddock was an American mass murderer who perpetrated perpetrated the 2017 Las Vegas shooting. Paddock opened fire into a crowd of 22,000 concertgoers attending a country music festival on the Las Vegas Strip, killing 60 people, injuring approximately 867, and at least 413 whom were wounded by gunfire. Paddock killed himself in his hotel room following the shooting, and then the incident is the deadliest mass shooting by a lone shooter in United States history. Paddock's motive remains officially undetermined, and the possible factors are subject to speculation. Paddock was a real estate investor, property manager, accountant, private pilot, and video poker gambler who lived in Nevada. 64, goddamn. That's crazy. Early years in education. He was born in 1953 in Iowa. That's where it all started. Iowa just sounds like a terrible place to be born. Where his family lived at the time, he was the oldest of 4 sons. Shortly after his birth, his family relocated to Arizona. Benjamin was a bank robber who was arrested in Arizona in 1960 when Stephen was 7 years old. Benjamin was later convicted and escaped to prison in 1969, simply appearing on the FBI's most wanted list. Wow, that's kind of crazy. According to Stephen's brother Eric, Benjamin Paddock, was never with my mom, and we did grow up under his influence. After Benjamin was arrested, their mother told their children that their father had died in a car accident and kept his status as a bank robber a secret from the family. Dolores proceeded to move her sons to the Sunny Valley neighborhood of Los Angeles, where Stephen spent his remaining childhood and adolescence in a low-income household. Dolores worked as a secretary to support the family. According to one of Paddock's ex-wives in a police interview, he had spoken about how he grew up with a single mother and a family, and financial stability caused him prioritizing being self-reliant and self-sufficient. Yeah. The fact that she could sustain the family in LA, by the way, as a secretary, shows you that would not be possible today. You would be homeless. Another one of Stephen's brothers Patrick Padlock Sex said that he said his brothers all grew up with anger. He said he thought Stefan seemed the least affected. My brother was the most boring one in the family. Patrick said Stefan, he was the least violent one. Former high school classmates described Paddock as a math genius and quiet and withdrawn. Career and gambling. Paddock worked as a postal worker from 75 to 78. After that, he worked for the IRS until 84. And in 85, he worked as an auditor for the Defense Contract Audit Agency from 85 to 88. Worked as an internal auditor for a company that later merged into Lockheed Martin. That's crazy. He was known to have run a real estate business with his brother Eric. Paddock lived in the greater Los Angeles area and owned real estate in Pomora City, Cerritos, and North Hollywood. From the 70s to early 2000s, he also owned 2 apartment buildings in Hawthorne, California. In addition, he owned an apartment complex in Texas, which he sold in 2012. Relatives said Paddock was worth at least $2 million when he sold off his real estate business. Among most of his profitable investments were apartment complex purchased in 2004, which gave him more than $500,000 in annual income. By 2011, the IRS records show that he made $5 to $6 million in profits from the sales in 2015. He was an avid gambler, and although the event which he profited from it was not clear, he reported his gambling winnings might have been substantial. He was sometimes seen as a high-limits rooms where he was not well known among the high-stakes gamblers in Las Vegas and was not considered a whale high roller by the casinos. His gamble of choice was video poker, which he had played for over 25 years. He usually gambled after dark and slept during the day. He disliked being out in the sun. That's fair. He was married and divorced twice, had no children. He was first married in 77 to 79, and for the second time, 85 to 1990, both marriages, LA, California. Family members said he stayed in good terms with his ex-wives. He lived in Texas and California, and then in a retirement community in Florida, 2013 to 2015. In 2016, he moved to Florida to another retirement home in Nevada. According to property records, he bought a new house in 2015 and sold his 2-bedroom home in Melbourne. Padlock lived in Mesquite with his girlfriend, who he had met several years before, in Reno. According to his neighbors, they also lived together in Reno. Many Mesquite residents recalled only seeing him around town. Those familiar with Padlock described him as someone who did not speak much and kept a low profile. The local gun owner community never saw him at any of the gun clubs or shooting ranges, including the makeshift ones in the nearby desert. An Australian acquaintance said Padlock in the United States and in the Philippines, he described Padlock as an intelligent and methodical. In his account, Padlock said he had won money by applying algorithms to gambling on machines. Padlock was convinced was convincing in gun laws and defending in defending his view of the Second Amendment. The acquaintance considered Padlock a generous man who he and his girlfriend visited him. 2010, Padlock applied and received a United States passport. He went on 20 cruise ships voyages, visiting several foreign ports, including Spain, Italy, Greece, Jordan, and the United Arab Embassies. He was accompanied by his girlfriend on one in nine of them. He went to the Philippines. They went to the Philippines together in 2014. During the last year of his life, traveled on a cruise to the Middle East. Padlock has a pilot's license since at least 2004 and owned 2 small planes, one being a Cruise SR-20, registration N5343M. Padlock's only recorded interaction with law enforcement was a minor traffic citation years before the shooting, which he settled in court. According to the court records, Padlock also sued Cosmopolitan of Las Vegas in September 2012. He said he slipped and fell on an obstruction on the floor and was injured as a result of the lawsuit, settled and was dismissed with prejudice in October of 2014. Possible contribution factors. Padlock's girlfriend stated that he did not talk length about politics and did not belong to any political organization. In addition, Padlock increasingly complained of being sick and was sensitive to chemical smells. During his last months, Padlock reportedly often smelled alcohol in the early morning. He appeared desponent, and he was reported to have fulfilled prescriptions for the anti-anxiety drug Valium in 2013 and in 2016, and finally again in 2017. The latter being 4 months before the shooting. The chief medical officer of Las Vegas Center said effects of the drugs can be magnified by alcohol, and confirmed Michael First, a clinical psychiatric professor at the Columbia University. Padlock's autopsy revealed that he was not under the influence of any psychoactive drugs or alcohol at the time of the shooting, although his urine did contain benzos. Yeah, this is gonna get definitely demonetized, or YouTube's gonna be like, this is inappropriate. Yeah, I just got it because I remember getting I think like an email from YouTube saying they found one of my videos inappropriate, and it's like months old, which is kind of funny. I'm like, you could have told me this now. Thanks, YouTube. During an interview with local CBS affiliates, Class TV, Clark County Sheriff Joe Lombardo said Padlock had reportedly been losing a significant amount of wealth since September 2015, which led to having bouts of depression. According to his girlfriend, she noticed a decline of affection and intimacy towards from Padlock, who had been romantic during their first relationship. He attributed it to his declining health. Even if he was losing, how much could he be losing? Flight Simulator has a good video on this, apparently. People should watch. Because apparently this has got a lot of mystery around it. You couldn't do it on YouTube, I believe. You had to do it on a different... I think Sam Hyde has like a online video network thing. People should check it out. Padlock's gun purchases spiked significantly between 2016 and September 28, 2017. He purchased over 55 firearms, and the majority of the rifles, according to the ATF. He also purchased a number of firearms related accessories. Prior to that, he purchased approximately 29 firearms between 1982 and September 2016. Mainly handguns and shotguns. His girlfriend noticed an increase of firearm-related purchase, but believed his intent was just a hobby. Exactly. Just boy things, right? As a suggestion, 2 weeks before the attack, his girlfriend went to her native country, the Philippines. Padlock brought her a surprise airline ticket, soon after wired her $100,000 to buy a house there. Most of the communication during that time was through email and text messages. He was spotted in Las Vegas with another woman, reported by investigation to be a sex worker. It was later confirmed this woman was not an accomplice nor considered suspect. Her name was not been released. 2 days prior to the shooting, Padlock was recorded by a home surveillance system driving alone to an area for a target practice located near his home. Scary. This guy was just out there gooning and shit. On the night of October 1st, 2017, starting at 10:05 p.m., Padlock fired over 1,000 rifle rounds from his hotel room 32-135 at the Mandalay Bay Hotel Casino on a large crowd of concertgoers at the root of 91 Harvest Music Festival in Las Vegas Strip, ultimately killing 60 people and wounding 867 others. He then shot and killed himself. Padlock meticulously planned the attack. On September 25th, 6 days before the shooting, he checked into the hotel with 10 shooting range bags and a computer. On September 29th, he moved into an additional suite, 32-134, connected to the first one. Both rooms overlooked the festival grounds. He stayed in both in days leading up to the shooting. After Padlock killed himself, the police found 23 rifles and one handgun inside his room. They included 14 223 caliber AR-15 type rifles, 8 308 caliber AR-10 type rifles, and 1 308 caliber Ruger American bolt action rifle, and 1 38 caliber Smith & Wesson model 342 revolver, all very expensive, according to law enforcement sources. All very expensive, guys. According to law enforcement, his arsenal included a large quantity of ammunition and special high-capacity magazines holding up 100 cartridges each. Some of the rifles were resting on bipods, and were equipped with high-tech telescopes. Sights. It's just funny that they say that. All 14 AR-15 rifles were outfitted with bump stocks that make the act of using recoil to assist in pulling the trigger, again, easier and faster, increasing the weapon's rate of fire. Other recordings of the attack indicated Padlock used these stocks fires to crouch rapid succession. At some point during the attack, concertgoers Padlock, who had placed a webcam on a service car outside his room, fired about 35 rounds to his door. Shots wounded approached the hotel security guard just campus. The under campus had attempted to enter the 32nd floor first at 9:59 on an unrelated matter, but found the door to be heavily screwed shut by Padlock. At 10:05, Padlock began firing hundreds of rounds in rapid succession at the crowd. He initially started with a few single gunshots before firing. In prolonged bursts, he stopped shooting 10 minutes later, 10:15. It's speculated that at the time Padlock committed suicide, shooting himself through the mouth. According to the chronology of events established the authorities in the following days, the first two police officers reached the 32nd floor hotel at 10:17 p.m. A minute later, they were shown the location of Padlock's door. Between 10:26 and 10:30, an additional 8 LVMPD officers joined them and began clearing other suites along the 32nd floor hallway. At 10:55, 8 SWAT team members entered the 32nd floor through the second stairwell near Padlock's suite. All other rooms on the floor had been cleared. 11:20, more than half an hour after the first two officers arrived. In 65 minutes after Padlock had ceased firing, police breached his door with an explosive charge, entered the room. Padlock was found dead from self-inflicted gunshot wound to the head. Looks like they were late. Investigation. Alright. In addition to firearm and accessories found in Padlock's hotel room, there was a note that included handwritten calculations about where he needed to aim to maximize his accuracy. The note contained the actual distance to the target, his own elevation, and the bullet trajectory relative to the line of fire. There was also several laptops in the suit, one of which was a missing hard drive. Computer forensics discovered hundreds of images of CP on the CSAM on the laptop. Padlock's brother, Bruce Padlock, referred as Daniel Padlock in the source, was arrested in Los Angeles in October in an unrelated CSAM investigation. The fuck? What's up with these motherfuckers doing this shit? Ammonium nitrate, often used in improvised explosive devices, was found in Padlock's car trunk along with 1,600 rounds of ammunition and 50. God, that's expensive sounding. 50 pounds of tannerite, and a binary boom boom, I would say, used to make boom booms targets for gun ranges. However, the investigators clarified that while Padlock had nefarious intent with the material, he did not appear to have assembled a boom boom device. In addition to 19 firearms were found in his home. Over the weekend, following the shooting, Padlock's Reno home was broken into. Front door of unknown perpetrator. Authorities stated that nothing was known had been taken and confirmed that the FBI was revisiting his home. What the fuck? According to the police, Padlock's acted alone. His motives remains unknown. There had been discussion around brain pathology, initially thought to be being as possible contributor. Padlock's remains were sent to Stanford University to receive more extensive analysis of his brain. No abnormalities present within the brain. Investigators believe that he was obsessed with cleanliness and possibly had bipolar disorder. Although a doctor did offer him antidepressants, he only accepted anxiety medication. It was reported that he was fearful of medication and often refused to take it. The doctor also prescribed Padlock as odd and showing little emotion. Psychologists ex post facto have noticed a distinct similarity between Padlock's demeanor and psychological consonant with alethmia, which might have modulated his decision to conduct a shooting. What the fuck is this? Emotional blindness is a neuropsychological phenomenon characterized by significant characters in recognizing, sourcing, and describing one's emotions and associated with difficulties, attachment, and in relationships. Okay. The Islamic State claimed the responsibility for the shooting, saying that Padlock had converted to Islam 6 months prior to the terrorist attack and remained himself Abu Abdul Bahar Allah. What the fuck? But the United States law enforcement officials have given no evidence a connection between Padlock and the Islamic State. According to his Catholic girlfriend, Padlock described himself as an atheist and often said, "Your God doesn't love me." Wow. Very dark. Very strange. I remember reading there was some like strangeness around this type. The fuck is that? The timeline events of the October 1st in Las Vegas have been substantially revised, depending on the mystery and raising more questions about what happened. While it had been believed that security guard Jose Campos was shot after Stephen Padlock killed 58 and wounded hundreds, until he was not the case. Sheriff Joseph says that after further investigations officially concluded that Campos was shot in a hail of 200 bullets 6 minutes before Padlock opened up on the 22,000 people attending the country music festival. Maybe he just didn't like country music. It was originally believed that Padlock shot Campos at 10:18. Police now think it happened at 9:59 p.m. Mr. Campos was encountered by the suspect prior to his shooting outside the ward. He immediately, upon being injured, notified security division. I'm close friend of Mr. Campos being shot. There was also a maintenance worker on the 32nd floor. Mr. Campos prevented him from receiving any injuries. The change in timeline leaves the open question of why Padlock stopped shooting. Take a survivor to signal hope as mentioned. Okay. Pavlok visited the tropical Las Vegas every 3 months. On average, the FBI learned through gaming records and employee records said somebody lost $38,000. He was in a room facing south and asked if he could reserve a different room for the time frame shooting, but his room was unavailable. Wonder why he picked a different room. I believe someone said, yeah, there's no bullet casings. The document also lists the evidence collected in the case, literally hundreds of items, including 24 guns, numerous bump stocks from his Mandalay Bay hotel room, and 18 more guns from... You can read both items. Okay. Interesting. Most definitely an interesting case. Doesn't seem like there isn't any motivation. He said there was nothing else besides Benzo, though. Why is everyone using this photo? Just to let you know, guys, every single fucking article just copies each other. It's all either owned by the same people or they're all just copying each other and they can't do anything about it. Well, guys, thank you for joining me. I hope you had a good Thanksgiving. And don't forget to wash your eyeballs and argue in the comments so YouTube knows I'm still relevant. And definitely when I get this is inappropriate for restricted instructions, that YouTube does care about its audience and